We got Reed and then Claire.
Reed Spencer of Sporting News. I read an interesting stat about you. On 24 times you've gone from a Cup race to a non-companion nationwide race. Won 3 Cup races, won 6 nationwide races. But in both cases, winning percentage higher than in companion weekends. Is there something about the hectic pace of this that sort of gets you going?
That's a good stat. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't know that. But I do when we get to these races where we go back and forth, I feel a little better about it. Maybe it's because of subconsciously I remember how great we've done or something. But I didn't know that statistic. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I'm not going to practice the nationwide car at Nashville today, and part of the reasoning is that I don't think that there's been a correlation between going to practice or just showing up and racing. Sometimes I believe as a driver, just showing up and having no expectation of what's going to happen, I think sometimes makes it a little simpler mentally. So maybe there's something to that, but also I like this summer stretch. I really like the hot weather and the slippery racetracks and all that too. I think that helps me.
Claire B.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. I was going to ask about the double duty as well. What does it take out of you, because you're probably one of the best in shape athletes we have, and doing the travel, not just the racing, but the travel, and what does your schedule look like?
Well, what I'm going to do is tomorrow after the final race practice here, I think we've got time. We're just going to drive to the airport. Jack's going to fly us to Nashville, so when it's Jack flying, it's great. And I just sit back in the back, and they usually have some Subway or something for me, and read a magazine and just relax. So it's in some ways it's an easier weekend. Where if you look at a regular weekend, and this is something that maybe would answer Lee's question as well, or Reed, sorry. I think sometimes on Fridays when I don't have to go back and forth, I can focus a little more on the Cup car. And right now I don't have anything between now and qualifying. I run my qualifying lap, just like I finished a couple minutes ago. So there's something to that too. But when Jack's flying, it's easy. It's like a vacation.
We got David, and we'll come back over here.
Yeah, Carl David Newton, ESPN.com. You saw Jeff Burton get a little upset after the race this past week, and you've known Jeff for a while, and he's usually a guy that's pretty mild-mannered and doesn't show his emotion like that. A, were you surprised, and B, does that show every driver kind of has their breaking point where they get pushed so far that they kind of snap like that?
Yeah, Jeff's been mad at me before. It wasn't on camera, but we're competitors, and I thought he did a really good job of expressing his frustration without going too far. Some of us have yet to learn that, but I think that's just part of the sport. If you go to your local dirt track anywhere around here, there'll be somebody that's mad after the race, and that's okay. I think that that as nice as all of us can be, that being nice isn't what makes you go around the racetrack fast. You got to be a competitor first.
Jeremy Elliott, Harrisburg Patriot News. 2 years ago, you won 9 races, and it's been a drought, obviously. How do you, as an athlete, confidence is so important?
Yeah.
How's your confidence been in this last year and a half, and what do you do maybe to not fall into that where confidence affects your performance?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where I get my confidence is from winning those 9 races. Looking back and knowing, hey, we can do this. And a lot of people aren't fortunate to have a year like that ever in their career. So we scored more points than anyone. We more wins, top 5s, top 10s. We did it, and it's essentially the same group of people. And I'm definitely the same driver. I feel like I'm better now, and so. Like anyone, I have to question myself and say, "Hey, am I doing the best job I can?" But I've learned that that as soon as in the past, whenever I've started to think, "Man, maybe I'm not doing things right here," then we'll have a race where the car's super fast and it's easy. I thought, "Man, I don't know why I ever thought that." I am fast, and I think it's important to remember that. So what I do is I think about the races we've been to. And done well, and I just do the same things. And when that car is good enough, if I haven't changed anything, we'll go that same speed.
Okay, I think we had a couple more. We'll go to Joe and then to Al.
Carl, you talked a lot about having to be faster on the racetrack. Is this new engine part of the answer to that? And along the same line, what does that do to what you've learned about fuel mileage, being this week's a fuel mileage type race, and so is next week with this new power plant?
You know, I don't know as much about. I don't know the difference between the fuel mileage of the new engine and the old engine, but I'm sure the guys will be. I mean, fuel mileage will be monitored as close as ever. You know, at this racetrack, I think the engine will be better. And Jack said it best when he said the biggest problem with the new engine is the old engine was so good. So it's hard. You know, the old engine was good enough that's not where we're struggling. I don't think. I mean, yeah, we could always use more horsepower, but I think it's the center of the corner, the balance of the race car, the long runs, things like that we've got to work on. The good thing about this track is that it's a real dynamic race, and the driver can make a big difference. A lot can change, you know, so it's not a place like Charlotte where really the car goes down the corner the same way, you know, 800 times, and if you're off a little bit, you suffer. So I look at this race to be a race where one or two of our cars has a chance, you know, statistically or chance-wise to be super fast, and this might be a good turnaround race for us.
We'll finish up with Al.
Yeah, Carl, Al Pierce from Auto Week. Have you ever had a major race absolutely won, locked up, tied down, and had an official's call ruin your day? And I'm speaking about the baseball pitcher the other night who had a perfect game. Have you ever had a case like that?
My brother showed me that clip on the internet. That was heartbreaking.
How would you handle that if you got called for, say, lug nuts or speeding or something like that?
The only time that ever happened to me that I can recall right off the top of my head was, you know, drivers have a million excuses for losing races, so you got to, you know, always take it with a grain of salt, whatever we say. But I was running the truck race at Charlotte, and I'd won at Daytona that year. We were having a good year, and we were leading the truck race by a mile, and a car blew a tire. I think it's Chad Chaffin. I blew a tire, a truck did, and I saw the tire blow, and I saw it come apart down the back straightaway, and the yellow lights came on. And I watched them. I mean, they came on. And so I'm slowing down, loosening my belts, you know, caution's out, and Dennis Setzer goes screaming by me. Whoom. I thought, why is he going so fast? Caution's out. And I looked up, and the lights were green. And I was like, holy, you know, like I've just seen something, you know, and, you know, I imagined it. So I raced, and I finished second. And I am telling you, I was more heartbroken and more frustrated with that than I've ever been with any other outcome of a race. And Mike Helton, you know, I don't know what they've done in that baseball player situation, but Mike Helton talked to me about it, and they actually issued a press release that said, hey, we inadvertently turned on the lights. We apologize to Carl Edwards. And that meant the world. You know, that meant a lot to me that they did that. But, man, that was tough, you know. But, well, no, you don't get the trophy or anything. I didn't win the race. But that's just part of any sport when you've got to enforce the rules, and there's going to be mistakes. And, man, that was a hard pill to swallow. That was a tough one.
Carl, thank you, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.